Good evening and welcome to As Featured in the Own It magazine. My name is Marissa Bludorn. I am the editor in chief of Own It magazine and publishing. And today I have with me, taking center stage with me and Own It, multi best selling author Lee Mariano. And she's going to talk to us about her new project, the project that she's co authoring in a collaborative work with Kern Cherry. The book is called Undefeated. Taking center stage and owning it with me is Lee Mariana. Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. We are at the top of the evening. Did you have a good day?
I had an amazing day. It was busy, but it was good. I was very productive.
Very productive. Such as the time as this, right? We are all busy making things happen, and we are living that undefeated life, right?
Yes, yes. Undefeated always.
Undefeated always. So I'm excited. This is a new book project, and it is all about women. How many women are in this project? Do you know offhand?
Oh, I want to say there are, give or take, around seven or eight of us. So it's not a very large group, but we are powerful. We're small but mighty.
Let me tell you something. Well, statistically, only a small percentage are living undefeated. It takes a lot to press through and not give up, and that's what it means. So share a little bit about it because I like to go in deep. And so when you think about being undefeated, most people will just take the answer and walk away. When a person is persistent, confident in what they believe they're supposed to accomplish in life, they don't just take no for an answer. They keep coming back until they get the yes. So talk to us about what it means to be undefeated for you without giving away your portion of what you contributed into this body of work. Share a little bit about what has been undefeated. What do you see undefeated for yourself as?
Yeah, so my life has been just a series of winding roads, right? There's never the a straight and narrow. So for me, really being undefeated means that you have to stand up. You have to stand when life brings you down, when you get no's, when you get rejected, when you get dejected, when you get refused, when doors are closed in your face, you keep going. And for me, that's really been my entire life. I'm a former Marine, so I had to make it in a military, right? That wasn't always for women, let alone a Black woman. I came out of the Marine Corps and I became the victim of domestic violence. So I am a survivor of domestic violence. I went into corporate America. As I was dreaming about getting the corner office, everyone else was telling me that it'll never happen. And so it's really that intestinal fortitude, right? To just keep going and you never stop, even when everyone else is telling you you're not going to make it or something's not for you.
Yeah, I remember many years ago, I had a personal trainer, and we would have some really great conversations on physical fitness and all of that other stuff. We would really have some great conversations. And I remember, and it's funny because she did it in her home, so I lived across the street from her, and we'd be 5 a.m. because I'm an early riser. And I can remember leaving out of her house, and I don't know why she said this because it was far from my mind. But she says, Marisa, God's going to give you a platform. He's going to give you a platform so that you can say the things that you really need to say. And I was never thinking about that. But look at how that all unfolded. Just like you said, it's a common thread that I'm hearing lately. Sunday, I did an interview with a group of women veterans, and they said the same thing: the opposition, the abuse, having to overcome, and overcome. And I was talking to a gentleman today, and he was talking about the strong black woman, and I said, well, where did that come from? Who started that? He said because he was comparing it to other cultures. He was saying of other ethnicities don't say that their women are strong like that, like the strong Asian woman or the strong white woman. They don't say that. Why do they say the strong black woman? And I said to him, well, why don't you answer that? Because we didn't start saying it about ourselves, and we didn't have to become strong because of ourselves. We came became this way as a response to a systematic approach to keeping us under, to keep
Yes.
us defeated. But we are lead what? We are undefeated.
Undefeated. We are undefeated. Undefeated. Yes. And
Defeated,
that's
defeated.
so interesting that you bring that up, right? That you were speaking with some women veterans, and what they were talking about is because we as women, we as black women, I know there may be a global women watching, but I speak from a black woman's perspective. And so, as a Black woman, I know that there have been times where I know I have been held down, I've been held back, those doors have been shut in my face because it wasn't seen as though I belonged. It wasn't seen as though I needed to be in that space. And so I had to learn that I belonged in any space where I was at. I belonged wherever I was. It didn't matter. And so that's that strength and that power that we have to bring forth every single day. We don't necessarily have the luxury of being defeated. We don't have that luxury. We have to stand up every day, even when all we want to do is sit down and stay silent. We don't have that luxury. So,
Lee, I'm gonna tell you. Um, when I there are times when I share with people when I come into an event or things like that, I want to sit in the back. Can I just watch and observe? I don't want to be in the forefront. Just want to sit back and watch and observe.
Mhm.
And there are times because when you're a powerhouse, when you live an
yeah,
undefeated life, there is a
yeah,
world calling out to you to say, we need you. We need you to speak into our lives. We need you to give us hope, give us inspiration so that we can have that fight to fight back. And just like you
Mhm.
said, we don't have a choice. To whom much is given, much is required. We have to show up. So, those of you who are just joining in, we are talking about a new book project, and it's when is it going to be released?
so I believe the date is in September. I don't think we have an exact date, but we are looking at in September right now.
Yeah, so we got a great expectation because again, these are stories of resilience. These are stories of when they say you can't, press in and say I will, right? I will, right? And these
Right.
are women.
That's right.
This is a small, intimate group of women who are sharing their stories, and it's called Undefeated. And it is the I don't even know how many bestsellers Kern Cherry has produced, but she is a number one best-selling visionary anthologist because she is doing collaborative work. So she is truly just not a visionary author; she is an anthologist, and what a beautiful spirit she has. She does such an amazing job with the women. So share a little bit about your experience and being a part of this project. And when we were backstage, you said this is not your first time at the rodeo. You've been doing this, and then segue into some of the work that you do as also as a publisher. And we're gonna let Dr. Betty back in. She's here. We're gonna let her back in. So one of your other co-authors is in the house, and we want to make sure that she's a part of the conversation.
Yes, hello
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. I apologize. I had to get off my phone and onto the computer for a
I
better
know.
view.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like the computer
right.
better. So,
Hmm.
Lee, share with us your experience.
Yeah, so working with Kern on not only this project but also on the Make It Happen project that I was on with her as well. She really is just it's an amazing opportunity because being with this, a small group of amazing powerhouse women telling our stories about success and overcoming and making it happen and being undefeated and having that spirit of knowing that you can get things done, right? That you don't have to stay in the place where you were. It really is just an amazing thing that she does. Not only do we get to tell our story, not only do we get to share it with the world, not only do we meet amazing women as well who are, partnering with us, but it also helps us for any of us who are struggling to get their story out, any of us who maybe had not told our story in the past. This is an opportunity for us to heal ourselves in order to get our stories out and talk about our experiences and what we've gone through. But it also helps us because we're reaching so many other women who may be going through the same thing or struggling with understanding how they can succeed or how they can overcome. And when we have the opportunity to tell these stories, it impacts such an amazing, large group of women who themselves are trying to get to that next level, who are trying to overcome and succeed. And for me, that's powerful because I wasn't always willing to tell my story, my personal story. And now that now that that door has been opened, thanks to Kern Cherry, I shout my story from the rooftops. I'll talk about it every single day because that's what that's she's empowered us to really to do that. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So share a little bit, and then we'll go to Doctor Speaks. Share a little bit about you and what you do, your publication company, and your coaching company, if you don't mind.
So absolutely. So really, I'm a coach for professional women who are really trying to focus on increasing their confidence, getting their ability to speak up for themselves, right? Stand up for themselves so that they can live their life on their own terms without apology, without guilt. Because when you do succeed, and again, this speaking from my perspective, you have that survivor's guilt, that survivor's remorse that you've made it. And so there are times where we diminish ourselves and we want to apologize for what we have accomplished because we don't believe that we should be where we are. So, my coaching is all about, really focusing on building the confidence of women so that they no longer feel the need to apologize for what they have accomplished and what they have done. And that to me is so powerful because when we remove that barrier, then women can accomplish anything. They're like, if the sky is the limit, because then you're not looking over your shoulder wondering what other people are saying about you. You're focused on the next step and where you're going. And so that's really what I focus on. I did mention I had been in a couple of other anthologies, talking about my own experience as a domestic abuse survivor, my experience in the military, getting to that C-suite level. So I've been in a couple of other anthologies and made it to that number one best-selling author status. But I also separately, I am a published author under a pen name. And I have 45 books on Amazon, where
Woo,
I
that's
actually I'm a USA Today best-selling author. I write, but that's under a pen name, and it's gratuitous fun and romance, and so it's a different. But I've been published as a indie author for 12 years now. So that's a
wow.
little bit about my story. Yeah.
Wow, you making me think. How long have I been writing? I've been writing for a minute.
Think about it like, wait, hold on,
Yeah,
let me count, let me count.
I know, because I never think I have been so busy that I have not even done the stats on myself. Not
Hmm.
really done the stats on myself. That is incredible. And so I did that so the audience can see who's writing the story, and
Yeah.
why they need to follow you until the book is released and get it. And then I charge men, not only women, to buy the book, but men, if you really want to know what's going on in a woman's life, if you really want to show up for her in the fullness of her. You need to start reading some of these stories as well. The men need to read our stories, and the women need to read their stories. I just had some gentlemen on this week, and I have another anthology that's coming up, some interviews that are coming up this week, and it's Grief Through His Eyes is the book. And they shared about how women should read the book, but men should also read our books, because then we can then begin to understand each other without interruption. Because when you're reading, you're just listening, right? You're not talking, you're just hearing what's being said. So with that, I want to move over to Dr. Speaks, and I want to talk to Dr. Speaks about her experience. Have you done more than one anthology? Have you done, and what was the thing that got you to do Undefeated?
Oh my goodness. I was trying to count on my fingers and started using my toes and then started using Lee's toes and her fingers. It has been just that many as well. And I think maybe 13 or 14 bestsellers, a few of maybe one or two of my own. And I will have to um, let you know that I may just have to invest in Lee as well, because once you start writing, it's like you don't want to stop. It's you begin to realize that there's a story and another story, and not necessarily stories, but something that you can help someone with. I love the fact that she's writing different types of books, and it tells me that she's an imaginary. She
Yeah,
uses her vision and just go into her little girl's world and imagine things. Look, she says, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm an analyst. So I analyze people, and I go through their stories, and I
she'll come back.
answer and pique my interest. I don't know if it's my internet or not, is of course Kern herself. We have been in a number of magazines together, on front pages, on back pages, inside the magazines, and I've known her for quite some time. And when she said, you need to be a part of this anthology and speak about Undefeated, it's because one of the things people say about Betty Speaks is she's a warrior. She's victorious, and she's that win-win person. You can get through her thick skin. She's gonna, either you can fly with her, soar with her, or you can stay behind. So that was she caught my eye with that word undefeated. And it's something that I'm retired from the United States Army, so I'm a veteran as well. Come on, Lee. Yes. Yes. So, and I went into the military, as a teen. And I say teen because I begged my mom to allow me to go into the military because I didn't want to be a hang around at high school. And people are like, what's a hang around? It's like when you graduate from high school, you should be gone. You shouldn't come back and bully the kids that are in high school that are trying to get what you've already walked across the stage with. So I was like, Mom, please sign me up. I want to join the military. I want to join the military. So they had the early entry program, and I went into the military at the age of 15 in South Carolina, did basic training, came back and graduated from high school as everyone else were enjoying vacations and things like that. My skin was already thickening up, you know.
Wow.
It was thickening up during that summertime. And to say I've graduated from basic training and endured so much in basic training. Some things I talk about in my book because, you know, there's some things you go through with men and things of that nature that you have to be undefeated with,
Right.
and as you go on in your professional career and plus in your educational career, you still have to go through things in life because of the color of our skin, and then because of our sex origin. We have to be undefeated in so many different areas. So here I am, this book, Undefeated. And you look at today, we're going through like things that are the prices of different things. Gas is coming down now, but for a moment we were having logistical issues. There were economical issues, and there are issues in our schools. Just over there, these issues to us. So as we look back at life, and I look back at my military career, I've been on a battle for my country and a battle for my life, because I was diagnosed with cancer too. So I can say, because of his story, I can live in victory. So this means that I am undefeated, right? Marissa, I see you over there. You just
Yes, yes, you are.
so these
I
are
love
the
it.
reasons why I wanted to be a part of this book. And I tell people every day that I'm a chosen warrior. When I was diagnosed with cancer, it was 2 weeks. I didn't cry. I wailed, you know. And
Mm,
some people don't know what wailing is. And I had no clue, out of all the times I've cried, that I could wail, because I said, I fought your battles. I've been a faithful wife, a faithful daughter. I've done all these faithful and righteousness. And it was my time to question God. Why me? And,
yeah.
and wailed until I couldn't wail anymore. And he says, are you done weeping? It's like, are you done weeping? Don't you know what I told you in the book of Deuteronomy? You are chosen for different battles. You're my
Yes.
chosen one. You have to get used to being undefeated. You know,
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
new tribe for you. So what? You retire from the military. So what? You have several degrees. So what? I have a new battle for you. And trust me, I never said that you were going to die. You should live and not die.
To proclaim the works of the Lord.
Thank you.
Proclaim the works of the Lord.
Yes, to proclaim his works. And
Hmm.
so when you ask me, why did you choose this book? Because I'm a warrior. I'm undefeated. I know now that we are here on earth to tackle different things, but his glory awaits for us in his kingdom. So, and that's in his word. And so that's why this being undefeated is something that I like to encourage others of, is and I say that from the heart, because I
Yeah.
love to help others and inspire them with hope. So I am definitely a life imprint influencer. You will hear imprint in most of my vocabulary, because I love the opportunity of allowing one to see the imprints that will be with someone else until they are gone. Those imprints will live on long after they are gone. Like Dr. Martin Luther King's imprints are still here. Maya
Yeah.
Angelou, I was born on her birthday, and her imprints are still here. So people are going to look back at Betty Speed. So y'all don't know her? What's wrong with you? You know,
Right. You should
so
know,
that's
right?
that's the purpose of being an undefeated. Marissa, that's my person. Honestly.
And I like Darlene Sheck. If you're familiar with her, she's a worshiper. And I believe
Hmm.
she's out. I think she's out of Australia. I think she was his songs ministry. I think she is. But Darlene Sheck says, I don't want to live a life that's perfectly packaged. She says in
Thank
this
you.
song, I want to live a life that's poured out. I want it all messed up. I want it poured out. And that's what we're here to do. To whom much is given, much is required. We have to
Mm,
share. We're living epistles, right? So we're
yes,
living epistles. We have to share the story, so that we can help others to rise up. I believe it's Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he's anointed me to preach the gospel, to set at
yes,
liberty who are captive, right? To free people. That's what our
yes,
stories do. When we are transparent, it allows other people to become free. It shames the devil so he can no longer have a stronghold over him. And as Lee said it, it'll give us the confidence that we need to forge forward, right? So we got to
Yes.
shame the enemy by not trying to be embarrassed. We got to embarrass. I will say this forever. Jesse Duplantis, you better give me some kudos, because Jesse Duplantis, maybe like about 20 something years ago, he's preaching, and I hear him say, shame the devil or he'll shame you. Same sin
Yes.
or it will shame you. Embarrass it so it does not embarrass you. And that's what you got to do. You got to expose it. That's what Own It is all about. Own It is about own the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent. Be you unapologetically. Don't explain yourself unless it's necessary. You have to discern when it's time to explain and when it's time to be quiet. It's not their business. It's not for them to know or understand. It wasn't for them. It's for you. And so that's why this is so important for us to come forward. And Lee and I were talking earlier in regards to statistically, only a small percentage, doctor speaks, it's only 3% of people that go and get their doctorate's degree. There's
Not
only
one,
3.
but two.
There you go, right?
Yes.
And so people don't pursue because the minute they're told no, they shrink back. But I like the word of God who says we're not like those who shrink back, right? We press in. We lean in. Get it done.
Lean
Yes,
in.
lean
All
in.
when everything is pushing us back, we lean in. We use that strength and we keep on pushing forward. And that's really what this is all about. What Dr. Betty was speaking about, what you've said, Marissa, it's all about not giving up. Like, we have strength and power behind us. The wind is behind us, right? And we just have to keep going, because when we stop, that's when we become stagnant. That's when we stop
Yes.
learning, growing, evolving. We stop being who we truly are, who we are meant to be, right? When we allow other people to stop us in our tracks, when we allow other things, the negativity, the dejection, the rejection, all of those things to stop us in our track, we are not living our life the way it's meant to be lived. We are not fulfilling our purpose. We are
Right.
not, by hiding my story. At one time, I said, domestic abuse survivor and all these other things. By hiding my story, I was doing a disservice to the other women who needed to hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with
Right?
you.
Tell the truth and shame the devil, right? That's what it's all about, right? But tell
Yeah.
the truth and shame the devil, which is what you were just saying. And that's really where, before, I never wanted to tell my story. But then when the floodgates opened, I was like, you know what? I need to tell it every day. I need to stand on the roof. I need to tell it to strangers. I need to do it.
I love
You know,
it. I love
I need to
that's
not be ashamed or embarrassed about what I went through.
I
right.
love it.
That is self-actualization.
Mhm.
That's so people in the beginning, when you start first hearing self-actualization, you thought about, being perfect, you've maximized all your talents. And no, self-actualization is authentication, right? It is being authentically you unapologetically. So much so you are so free in your spirit that you want others to feel it. And so Maslow's hierarchy of needs says you have such a strong response to this level of freedom that you are so compelled to go back and get others and bring them up. That's what it is. So
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're just chiming in, we're talking about the new project of Kern Crockett Cherry, and it is the book called Undefeated. It will be released this September, late September. Kern just chimed in and said, yes, late September, this book will be released. It is a powerhouse book, Undefeated. If you have been wrestling with who you are, what you are aligned in purpose to do, this is the book that you want. I was doing my research, and one of the things they say, how do you remain undefeated? You need to read. Read was the first thing, so that you are self-motivated. Then you need to do the introspective work. Dr. Speaks, you talked about being an analyst. You got to do the introspective work. Self-awareness should lead you, if you love yourself, to self-development. Self-development leads to self-mastery, because once you are developing yourself, you know yourself well enough to navigate through all of these challenges, and you're able to regulate, self-evaluate, and press on and move forward. It said connect, get a mentor. And listen, the book is full of mentors. All the basically tell you how they've overcome. They had the victory. And then it talks about spirituality. Everyone has to know. You have to own your faith. What is it that you believe? There's a song I believe by
Betty
Grit.
Stewart,
It's called,
Victory Resurrection.
yeah, what do you believe? What do you believe? What does your mind conceive? So you have to get in alignment with your spirituality, because it is your faith that keeps you stable through the unknowing times, right? When it's uncertain, you don't get defeated, because you've worked that spirituality. You worked your faith, you worked it before. You know that you can rely on it. You just need to get back in alignment with it. And so, ladies, oh my God, it is so amazing. I know you're gonna listen. I know you're gonna come back. You gotta come back to own it. I'm super excited. I know you guys have a meeting after this, so I'm not gonna hold you. I want you to be able to at least rest for a few minutes, refresh, and go into that next meeting. But what are your closing remarks, Lee? I'm gonna start with you, and then Dr. Speaks, I'm gonna close out with you. Share something that you can share with the audience. Remember, we are in the author's corner of Own It magazine. So if you want to share a tip with some of the authors, by all means, feel free to share a tip with them, or just give them some words of wisdom.
Yeah. So take a minute and speak to the aspiring authors, or to those who are maybe on the cusp of writing a book. The important thing I want to share with everyone, after 48 books that I've written, and some do well, some don't, some are stories that appeal to the masses, others don't, is just to write what you believe in. Write the words that are inside your heart, write the words that bring out your creativity. The most important thing you can do is simply to get the words on paper. You have to start somewhere. And when the words don't seem to make sense, that's okay. Right? That's why you have a process in order to get that book published. But the important part is to get the words on paper and get the story told, whatever that story may be for you. And even when you feel dejected and the words don't come, it's okay. Take a minute, take a rest, and come back the next day. Right? Come back the next day and write 100 words a day, 100 words every single day for 1 month, right? 500 words every single day for 1 month. It's really getting your creativity going, and it's getting the words out of your brain onto paper, onto your
Yes.
computer. And if you do that every single day, you will have a book, you will have a novel, you will have a story that you have told that you can then share with the masses.
That
Yes.
is
Well, I
amazing.
thank you. That was wonderfully, and I just want to say you have to own it. Like Marissa said, if you've gone through a divorce, own it. If you've gone through any sexual misconduct, own it. If you've gone through any type of medical conditions, own it. You can be undefeated with anything. You can rise, like both ladies have said, against anything that you have encountered in life. Just remember that we are still living life. So you can own that. God has died for all of our encounters. That spiritual part has to be there, and you have to believe in your heart. Like she said, if you believe it in your heart, there's those H's out there. If your mind or your head, if you can receive it here and believe it here, then take actions here with your hand, and just move forward. This book, honestly, has amazing undefeated individuals in it, and I encourage anyone that's listening to take part and purchase it, because I promise you, you're going to think that you're going through something that only you are going through. But I tell you again, whatever you are encountering in your life journey right now, own it. Own it and go through it and watch the victory on the other side, knowing that strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming those challenges that you once went through. And you can get through them by owning it, and then be a part of the second book of Undefeated. And that's my time.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Excellent tips, excellent insight. Discipline yourself to write every day. Identify what you want to say. I always say identify write down the points of what you want to say, and then, like Lee said, write it every day, own it, and realize that we can all be undefeated. We
Mhm.
all can be undefeated. It's not just even though statistics are one thing, but we have power to change the statistics. It doesn't have to remain at 3%. We
Yes.
each individually have control over we are the CEOs of our lives, and we can make those executive decisions that say, I today will be undefeated. And so,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, I just really want to say thank you for chiming in. A few of your co-authors were in the house, writing comments. We're going to re-air the show again and again and again. I hope that you guys will come back. Don't count it robbery to come and take center stage with me and own it and share your undefeated stories. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the co-authors, contributing authors to a new project. It's called Undefeated. It will be released this September. The visionary anthologist is Kern Crockett Cherry. And we are so excited to have them. We're going to be having them up until the release date, the launch party, and all that other good stuff. We are standing in partnership, and we are loving it. So, ladies, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing and taking center stage and owning it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out. Good night.
Good night.